You're a director. Those 3 words changed Mary Lou Belli's life. The 5'2" powerhouse was working on the 1984 CBS sitcom Domestic Life as a stand-in and coach for future Rain star Megan Follows, then just a teen, when guest actor Jack Riley made that observation. That brief observation sparked something in Belli, kicking off a 30-year career behind the camera with 2 Emmy nominations to show for it. You know, I took 1 class in college. Belli recalls telling Riley, who would go on to voice Stu on Rugrats. And as soon as she approached a theater company she was a part of about directing, the fire was lit. I like solving puzzles, explains Belli, who is currently Emmy-nominated for directing a Season 3 episode of BET+'s The Ms. Pat Show. And what I love about directing TV is every week you move on to a new puzzle. Piecing those puzzles together, EW asked Belli to reflect on the past 3 decades she spent directing everything from Sister, and USA High to NCIS, New Orleans and Black Lightning. Belli got her start as a TV director in 1988 with a Season 3 episode of Charles in Charge. It was a very supportive atmosphere. Executive producer Al Burton, who was trained by Norman Lear, gave 5 women their first directing assignment over the course of that show. It's no longer the case, thank God, but at the time that was unheard of. And were they all good? Yeah. All of us are still working in the industry and we're still friends. A second Charles in Charge episode and an installment of Major Dad followed. Then, in the late 90s, Belli found a niche directing teen dramas, including an episode of Sister, as well as almost all of USA High Season 2 and One World Seasons 2 and 3. Her work in the genre continued through 2010 with an episode of Wizards of Waverly Place. USA High co-creator Peter Engel had brought me in to coach, and they eventually thought I should direct. And I remember Peter saying, "You're going to knock this out of the park." If I had a film school, it was Peter Engel. I love working with teens. That's why I wrote an acting book specifically about it. I still keep up with some of that USA High cast. As One World winded down, Belli was tapped by one of her acting coach clients, D.L. Hughley, to direct on his new sitcom, The Hughleys, in 2001. We would finish a taping on Friday night, and very often D.L. would get right on a plane, do stand-up gigs in other cities on Saturday and Sunday, and come back in time for the Monday reading. Going through a political campaign year with D.L. was like gold, because he was coming back with perspectives of people outside of LA or New York or Chicago. He was talking to the people who were voting throughout the country, and as a result, his perspective was unique. While directing a 2003 episode of One-on-One, Belli found a fan in writer and supervising producer Meg DeLoach. So when DeLoach began production on a new series she created, Eve, Mary Lou says DeLoach asked for that little one with 2 names to direct, something she'd do for 22 episodes over the 3 seasons. What a lovely, lovely, lovely cast. That was one of the first shows I was on where the cast was a family. I was older than them, so I sort of became their mom. The hardest part about directing Eve was getting control of the set, because they loved each other so much. God forbid we put all 6 of them in the scene together, just to get them to shut up and say the lines on the script as opposed to just chatting with each other. I mean, it was a good time. And I will tell you, nearly all of the cast members had just come from shows that didn't go past first season, and there's something about being humble and grateful that you're on a show that's going multiple seasons. It was the same on Girlfriends, which I directed 7 seasons of. Everyone was happy to be there, grateful to work together. It takes a lot to work together that long, and I feel very lucky that we clicked and established a trust that allowed us to work so well over so many years. But the monotony of the sitcom formula weighed on Belli, and she dreamed of expanding her horizons to include drama, action, and procedurals. On some of the shows I was working on, I would try to bring in single camera stuff, and they'd go, "Not the show." And I'd go, "Okay, that's fine." I mean, it would work. It wouldn't take any longer. It'd look better. But your show, your choice. It wasn't Wizards of Waverly Place I'm referring to, because that had some fun stuff, and the visual effects on that show were fun. I love that sitcom world, but at a certain point, you want to grow and do more. So I called up some wonderful directors, in particular Bethany Rooney, and I'm so lucky they were willing to provide me a lot of hands-on experience. I'd never had a techno crane on set. I didn't know lenses.